our people, which was a question to ask your folks, how many times are they using AI to, talk with, right? Or to brainstorm the solution of a problem. I think that was what I was very curious about. That, if you guys want to put in the comments, how often do you think that the folks working in your teams, your coworkers, your peers, even if you're a teacher, like your fellow teachers, are using AI to make decisions. So that's kind of the question.
Now, I did ask some of my teammates or people that report to me,
You
and
did?
yeah, and it's been used very limited or to almost non-existent, which I was very surprised.
I
You know,
was I was too. Did you tell him you were surprised about the answer? How many people did you
yeah,
survey?
yeah, three.
Three?
Hmm.
Okay. Please do
Sharon
not
used it.
please do not
Sharon,
tell me their names.
yeah. Anyways, she she used it a couple times. The other ones didn't.
Okay, hold up. What is a couple times?
Well, the answer I got from her was, she's used it like, three, four times, and that's the answer I got out of her.
A week?
No, in total, they're not using it.
Hmm. All right. So,
Oh,
the
I'm going to tell you a funny little story.
go
I
ahead.
was in there and I was doing something with AI, and they all asked me what I was doing, and they were like, "Wow, wow, look at that," and they were very intrigued, like it was totally foreign to them. You're on mute.
Wes, I think I can share. My mom is over 70 years old. My mother.
And she's using it.
Yeah, not 100 times a week, not 100 times a month, but definitely more than 3 times in her whole life, right? Like, definitely. So it surprises me because, like, I would think that AI has a role in your type of business. So I was expecting, like, oh, I use, a few times a week, or I use specifically for this task because it's a task that is time consuming, and I found this tool to help me to do that and the other. That would be like a minimum that I would expect. Like, hey, I use often but not often enough, or but not just like, oh, I just use 3 times. So I don't know. Can I press a little bit more to see your memory to see if you remember exactly how you asked them the question?
Um, so the way it worked was I was using AI for me, and it was probably like my third time, and but now I wanted a PDF file made, and I didn't know how to maneuver. So I brought it to some of my people, and they're like, "Hey man, how do you do this?" And they're like, "What's this?" "Well, this is AI." "Oh yeah, I've used it a couple times, and I don't really know." And I had to take this to different people, and I've never used it. I don't know. "Hey man, I've never used it. I don't know." Is how it played out, and that's how I got your answer. I didn't go around and make a survey. I was like had an issue, and no one knew how to operate the. Well, I don't know. I don't use it. You know. And you know what? And I agree with you. There is probably a space in our world for it, but I don't know why they're not using it. Are they? I'm not saying too small-minded. I'm saying maybe stuck in their ways, change. you know, not forced to. You know, is it my fault that I did not expose them more to it? Telling them it's a good tool that you could use. Um, I don't know why they don't use it, and it's a great question. I'm going to bring it up in my next managers meeting.
Yeah, I wasn't even trying to encourage that question to be asked, but cool. I'm like surprised. Like,
Well, Jay, people, you're, now, if I were to ask my daughter, I think she'd say she uses it all the time. My son uses it all the time. But the question was my staff. And I actually think it's from where they come from. Um,
Well,
exposure in a
that's
set.
but I met them, Wes. Like they're smart people. The ones I met, they might not, be coachable to the extent that, hey, I want, you to go above and beyond a certain limit, but in no time, I thought they lacked the intelligence or the wit to navigate through new technology. I think the resistance always came from a different spot, with your folks and other folks too. I'm like, was the way that the question was asked or the exercise, right? Because listening to you saying, you're like, you show them a problem that you already knew how to solve, right? So you kind of acted. That's what I
I
understand.
wasn't acting. I didn't know how
Oh, you
to.
did not. Okay. So you went to them with a problem with AI, and what AI tool were you trying to use?
ChatGPT.
So you had in ChatGPT, and you went there. If that's okay, so you say, "Hey, please help me out," and no one knew how to help, or they said, "I don't want to help you," or they say, "I don't know," because they didn't want to help you.
No, that mentality in helping me does not exist here.
Okay.
Everyone wants to help me. You know, I pay them and they,
Okay.
I do pay them. They do recognize that I am the boss or the employer, and they show respect and usually move when I say something, I would assume.
Mhm.
I don't want to say, like I disrespect them or anything. But anyways, I went there and it was like, oh yeah, they were all willing to help, but like, yeah, I don't know, I don't use this. Yeah, I don't know how to use it. I don't use this. I don't know. And they were all playing and arguing with my phone, trying to make it happen. And no, I don't know. I don't know. Figure it out. Go ask the next one. Do you know how to do this? They didn't.
I just want to recognize that the lighting on me is horrible today, and I thought it was good, and it's horrible. It is, and I can see it. It's just, anyways. Um, we touching back on this topic. There's more to be peeled there, right? Because let's just say you took that to heart that, hey, you don't use it. Now I think it's just exploring. You don't use ChatGPT or you don't use, AI at all because it is your business. It is today's world, and I think that the topic that we were talking about last time we recorded was valid because the Harvard Business Review article was reporting that CEOs of large corporations, um, whether they are from the healthcare industry or the energy sector or the banking industry, are using AI models and apps, right? To even whether it's made in-house or not, right? Whether they control the entire environment of the app, are using that to strategize and think of that, bounce ideas off of, right? So that's how we got here. I said, Wes, what do you think your people are doing? If these guys from these large corporations are doing it and not having necessarily great results, what do you think your people are doing? And then, Wes went in there and he, kind of tried to do this exercise. So it's not being malicious in any way, shape, or form. It's just like, how are we, is this thing that, HBR reports something that is going around, right? And already like, taking root in the fabric of business owners regardless of size, or is something that hasn't arrived? Because if it hasn't arrived, that's great. Let's make sure that we are using the darn tool as what it is, a tool, not as something to bounce ideas off of, or strategize, because all that thing is doing is regurgitating a bunch of information, not
A
necessarily
bunch, a bunch.
a bunch. Yeah. So long story short, still something that I am always, interested in, and paying attention to, that it's not just about making a decision, is how did you arrive there? Is it founded on sound footing, right? Is it
Some facts.
sound facts, correct? So is that the way that you arrived at the decision? And if you only, and here's the thing, if you only brainstorm an idea, a concept with a large language model, you haven't done enough. You just have not done enough.
I don't understand.
So I can give you a real life example. Um, I had an idea of shifting the layout of a couple of my units. And he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this." You know what I mean? Like, just we're gonna do the and hey, I'm going to put a lot of resources, dollars, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Oh, let me talk to ChatGPT. Okay, here's the concept. Here's what's gonna do. Blah 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 blah. Right?" And then he just goes, "Of course, this is gonna work, and this and that." And he's just like the biggest cheerleader. I shouldn't and must not use just that to go and make that decision. Should not.
Unless you asked it another question and said, what are the
Nope. Nope.
downfalls?
Nope. No, I don't care. I honestly do not care. And I know this is a great point you're making and a great objection. And I'm going to let you finish, but I have a strong opinion about that. But keep going.
So I used it on, in asking, I asked a question of, I want to make a onboarding process for franchisees.
Hmm.
And I asked about it, and I asked it about 4 or 5 different ways until I dialed in what I wanted. And then I thought it was wonderful. And I asked the question, what are the downfalls? What are my obstacles? What are the benefits? Things like that. And I thought it was very useful and very helpful. So as a CEO, you said in bigger companies, CEO, I did use it, and I use it for identifying like, how can we do this that would be smooth for the franchisee and make it, bullet or dummy proof, so things get done. And I also asked for, what kind of time frame should this take? I want it to take 2 days, 14 days. Boom, boom, boom. These are all the tasks that have to be done on day 1, day 2, day 3, whatever. Worked out really well. But my people, why they're not using it, I don't know, but it's a great question. I'm going to ask it. You're on mute. Mute.
Thanks, Wes. Sorry for interrupting you abruptly, saying no, 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 no. But you made great points. Yes, if I am coming up with an idea with an AI, I'm doing exactly as you do, right? Come up with the idea. Of course, I want the pros and cons. I even want some sources, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you want to do that, then the devil's advocate, the timeline, right? How long is it going to take? Is it really going to be too much of a headache for my people? Any blind spots that you could imagine? That's fine. I did all of that. All of that. All of that is great. but I still want, if somebody's working for me, I want a clear human view other than your own to that conversation with AI. It does, like, I don't, like, you can do all the work with the AI by yourself, but before it gets to me, the decider, right? Before it gets to me as just that one liner or that one paragraph, hey Jay, we are now changing the layout of 30% of our inventory to cater to this different type of guest. And we're going to invest 30% of our capital expenditures to do so. Before it gets to that point, to you to just look at that problem as a very well framed, you know what I mean, implementation of something that someone, a human, more than just a human, and their own little bot, right? Their own little back and forth, truly looked and dissected that whole thing because I am paying that whole team to do that. That is how far I'm trying to. I'm sort of like raising the flag kind of thing to a danger of this tool can do so much, but it can't call BS that quick because it's not interested in calling BS. It is interesting to keep your attention.
I don't agree.
All right. Yeah, I'll comment below.
I don't agree.
You
Yeah.
don't buy it? What so what part of, because I think I said too much. What part of what I said you don't agree?
I asked the negatives as well. What are the benefits and what are the benefits and what are the negatives of onboarding process? Well, whatever. I just use that as a
Hmm.
heading. And it gives it to you. And actually, what I remember when we were talking earlier, and you said, and I said, yeah, a bunch of information. It's almost too much. You almost got to skim read it and find out the pertinent things, the red flags that you think are, you got to skim read it because just so much information. And if you reword it a different way with a different word, you get a whole new set of information, you know? And it does give you the positive and negatives.
Okay. And I'm gonna show something on the screen. My take, okay, is always get human feedback before implementing it. That's my take. It's not like I have nothing against what you're saying and the method that you said, or even the amount of it. I actually would say do a little bit more, even like on the back and forth. There are people that their YouTube channels devoted on the proper prompting to truly get what you want from it. So there's tons of value in that. I'm my the flag I'm raising to fellow business owners, whether you're a one man show or 10-man show, right, or hundreds. Um, if you're paying people to think and make decisions and brainstorm and coming up with creative solutions, make sure that they are working together. Not that you just have a bunch of people working, you know what I mean, and then they just come up and you're not getting the human aspect of truly being competitive and really printing something, and someone is like looking at what other person is not looking, you know what I mean? It's not just the regurgitating the same amount of information, right? So that's my take. Hopefully I got to that point.
One thing I'd like to ask or say is I'm really curious about, I see these ads about investing money with AI doing your thinking for you.
What do you mean?
Investing money on the
You're
stock market.
sort of like, okay.
Like these are these hot leads, buy so many stocks with possible AI influenced 60% return or 30% return on your money, things like that. And that's all AI generated. And I was wondering how accurate that is.
I
People
haven't.
say they're making lots of money on it, but I don't really necessarily believe that.
Oh, I don't believe. Online, I don't believe anything that it is an Instagram ad or until I sit on, whether it's a Zoom meeting or I am
Reach.
seeing your product or, you know, it's just everything is just for that initial attention and then, so you can convert, right? The lead. So before I can't even say it. It could be something amazing because I can't say that there aren't amazing companies that at first glance they look really cheesy and run of the mill, but they are amazing. They're simply cheesy and run of the mill because how do you get attention? You need to be cheesy and run of the mill. So I'm not going to say don't look at those, but like objectively, right after that first initial excitement, know why you are there, right? Are you here just because of the excitement? Well, cut the cord, it was just an ad. Okay, you lost 20 minutes. But if not, remember what your requirements are and don't start molding yourself just on what they are promising, you know. So I
Right.
think that's the way I approach those because I have wasted lots of time. I had one matter of fact, that was an opportunity that I raised to my advisory board with a possible vendor that was going to revamp how we sold rooms online, right? So, our goal for a short-term rental person is always to take as much of the slice of direct to consumer as you possibly can, right? And that Instagram ad got me. The name was Wonder of the company. And I'm not dogging them, but the name was Wonder and it was a wonderful ad, as much so that I stopped everything I was doing. I scheduled an hour demo, okay? Got one of my people to sit there with me, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna pause on these efforts because if what these folks showed us, that solves a lot of things, even though we lose a little bit of control. It's $100 deposit. I'm like, that's fine. It's nothing, obviously, but I understand because they're going to start to work with your brand, with your thing. We'll have that ready for you in 30 days. We are already integrated with your CRM. We're 6 months later. And then they were sending emails and things like, oh, this was going to happen and we are about to do it. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, you need to do this, that, and that. I'm like, oh, no, no. I'm becoming your guinea pig. You know what I mean? Like when I have
Yeah.
time, since we have the track record of the emails, I will send something and say, hey, please return my $100 deposit because nothing happened. But we're not going to waste time with this type of execution, right? Were they good in the first place? No, but that initial ad was, ooh,
So Wonder was wonderful.
as a, and I hope and look, if they could execute that intake a little bit better or not promise more than they could deliver, because it could be a thing of if my CRM still not part of their growth path of integration, right? Think of you're selling heaters compatible to just one type of, just gas water heaters. And they're still not going to make the electrical, but their product still heats water. That's why I click on the ad. Just be frank about that. We're going to get to you in about 9 months, right? Keep us in mind. But I don't think that's what happened. So, you know what I mean? So there are those things. I'm not saying they have a bad product, but 6 months after, my what I have already does much more than what they could do for me, at that point, So whatever. I went way too long, but those Instagram ads, they're great ads. Just sit through a demo, and even then, even when you do sit through a demo, you can still be, more or less bamboozled into, what they promised versus what truly was that implementation. So.
So I went to Baltimore, not Baltimore, yeah, Baltimore last weekend.
Mm.
They had a franchise show there, expo. And you been to Boston before?
Boston or
Well, I'm Baltimore. Excuse me.
Maryland? That I think yes, I did a project for company that installed cable wires right in
Okay.
the area, Maryland, like all that stuff. So just following the crews, making sure that things were set, all that stuff. But anyways, yes. How good was it?
I really enjoyed it. I really liked the community. I liked the city. It was beautiful. They seem to have a lot to do. You know that they have I stayed in the Inner Harbor. And that was Inner Harbor is the Inner Harbor.
Hmm.
And they have a cab, they have like a taxi service on the water, which is really neat. So you get you around the city, crossing the harbor and the river, and I thought that was a lot of fun, a little different. Food was good, seafood. It was just, and the people were actually really nice. I really liked the people there. They were very kind and very helpful. So it was a good time, though I was there for work.
Say, is Baltimore a good city to live in?
Ask AI.
It's it's well, that's the answer on the screen. It says Baltimore is a fantastic, greedy, and affordable city if you prioritize big city amenities and East Coast proximity over. That was a great sentence construction. That was like they buried the reason why people wouldn't, right? Which is if you prioritize all that stuff over low crime rate, he offers a tight knit small town feel with world class healthcare, thriving arts scene, and a lower cost of living compared to the nearby hubs. I had a guy that worked for me named Anthony that was originally from Baltimore, and he was a proud. I don't know how to say when you're from there, Baltimore or whatever, but and I mean what's their team's name? They have a NFL team, don't they?
The Baltimore Ravens,
Yeah,
the
Ravens.
Baltimore Orioles for baseball.
So they are. So how is the let's switch to the franchise for those that are following your journey on this. How is that going? Because that's why you were there, right?
Yeah, so the process is that you go to these shows or you get leads, and when you get a lead to try to sell a franchise, and upon trying to sell a franchise, you have to qualify them. I have to look at it as I'm trying to hire a general manager. So I got to make sure that he's got the right proper people skills
Hmm.
and in the drive and the right what we're looking for. Presentation. He's got to have values and processes and things like that he can follow. Well, then I qualify him that way, and then we also have to qualify him financially. Are they going to enter into this too poor, where they can't move as in business because they're just very limited on cash? Most franchises fail because of poor um, financial stability. So we have to make sure that they're financially stable to withstand the storm and getting open and things like that. So right now we have I also ran another campaign through another company, a marketing company that just markets franchises. They're kind of pricey, but they get you good leads, solid leads. And the way they do that was one of the things they said that I thought was very interesting was they put an application form on the webpage or on the campaign, and they make it real elaborate. The people who are serious will stick around and fill it out. The people that are not serious will not. So right now we're talking to 12 or 15 different people right now to try to make something happen. And then we have we're having one of our franchisee prospects coming for a visit, this coming up Friday, and gonna do a ride along. See if this is where he wants to go. And, that's what's, and then in the afternoon, we're going to sign the deal if, which I think it's gonna happen. And that'll be my first franchisee, so. That's where I'm at right now with this, you know, it takes time. I'm asking someone to leave their W-2 in, employment and do this on their own. You know, it's a big ask, so.
Is
A
this
lot.
is this
What?
what you're is this like what's happening on this deal? He's going to leave a career to take on this full time?
Yep,
Wow.
so,
And it is that deep.
yeah, well, exactly, so they have to feel very trusted that I'm gonna care for them. You know, they're looking to change their life for the better and be their own boss. I'm looking for a good general manager that they'll be successful, and then someone that's coachable, you know, that can take, I don't want to say take direction, but take advice or corrective criticism well, you know. So that's kind of the character side of things you're looking for, but the financial side too. And this guy I got coming, um, he's met all the criteria. The only thing we gotta do is pull the trigger and sign the franchise document disclosure agreement. And, after his visit on Friday, so this is exciting. We'll see where this goes. You're on mute.
I am sorry if I missed it. Placing geographically, where would his franchise be operating?
It would be north of me. It'd be like, north of me, north. So, on the north side of Milwaukee, West Dallas area.
So let's just put that into driving hours. How many hours for you to get from, where you stay to where,
Him,
yeah.
I'd say about an hour and a half.
Oh, so it's totally like the support is easy breezy.
Yeah,
Okay.
that I want this to work for him, you know?
Okay, so that's good.
Yeah, and
And you
you
guys
know,
have the model. That's the advantage, right? Because you have the model step by step one of what he needs to do,
yeah,
right? Um, and I assume also what you need to do so he can, get it done.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, beauty of it is too, is his father's a plumber.
Oh, love it, love it.
Yeah,
Oh,
so,
question, just unrelated, but it was in my mind yesterday. I was driving. I'm like, I need to ask Wes that on maybe on camera, which is as a master plumber in the state of Wisconsin, how often, if at all, do you have to like take continuous education or re-up your certificate? Like, how often do you have to do that?
no, it's changed. I've done it after 3 years and I've done it after 5 years.
Hmm.
Where I had, and I think it's 5 years now, where I have to, but I have to do, I believe it's 12 hours a year. And then I'll have all my hours to then, re-register my license after 5 years. Like I can't re-register if I didn't take the schooling.
Right,
And then,
exactly. So that's the requirement essentially.
yeah,
So
yeah,
for realtors, I think it's similar because right now I've been being bombarded by these, by Keller Williams, like, hey man, I think your birthday's coming up, and because it ties up to your birthday and things like that. So I got to take a couple classes. I think I owe like 24, 24 hours. The good thing is that there are a lot of courses that your brokerage provides that are actually in your lane of interest too, that apply to the requirement, right? There's always like a legal requirement and things like that. So I'm interested on the legal aspect of things because I think there were some laws on a federal level that were like housing sort of adjacent, if not straight down in the middle, that might impact how you're going to, the responsibilities of, a landlord, or the responsibilities of somebody who lists a house, and,
Right.
all the annoying things. But while I can see the benefit on having to re-up, at least got my curiosity in the general direction of learning more, right? Staying fresh. It is an annoying process having to,
Right.
stop, do that. Ugh. Anyways.
Do you
Uh,
take classes online then?
yeah, you can take online, but like the fun thing, like I always try to, like, I think you are similar in the way that if I have something that is really boring, but that is a requirement, I just have to do as part of the deal of, owning a business or whatever. If I can make it fun as well, I will, right? So in the case of education and things like that, the interesting thing is when you can go to courses with other people, which means you are networking as you're doing it as well. So you're gaining that thing plus, taking care of this other situation. So those are interesting opportunities when you are, having to check the box, because that's the objective, right? Like it is, so we do stay fresh, that we do keep innovating, and having good infrastructure and having good, health, because if your house has good plumbing, you're going to have better health, right? If
Hey,
you
the
you can
plumber,
go
the
back, you go back to England, when England, the what's the name, the Thames, whatever, the river was full of disgustingly things, because they still did not have, the black waters, let's just say, right, the whole sewer system, and the plague, the this, the that comes down to how well you take care of your building's waters. There's no secret to that. A country that invests in infrastructure that is focused on how you take care of your waters and how you use it and blah 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 is a country that is healthier and happier, right? So of course it's important, but you got to stay innovative, dude, because it's expensive right now.
yeah, right. More people died during the Civil War from um, poor water than they died of any bullets. Poor
That's
hygiene. Did you know that?
correct. Absolutely. That's exactly my point. I
In
just went
like
back
if
to 200 years before.
in China, in Russia, they're fighting with, they're not fighting, but negotiating stuff with Trump right now about different things. And if they try to take over our country, they would probably send people in and just kill all the master plumbers.
What the? Okay.
That was a joke. That was a,
It was drier than the
yeah, they just kill all the master plumbers, and then we'd kill ourselves because there would be no health, and everyone would just die off because of poor plumbing practices. Because all the master plumbers have been killed. Trump has nothing to worry about. The plumbers do.
Oh, it's not. Well, we'll leave that topic on the left and or right, and but talking about events, we weren't, but I did wanted to plug that in. You are always a proponent when you talk to people trying to, get their business to the next level, and get to know more customers. It is to be part of community events and fairs and things like that. So this year we're going to help organize. We already started the block party within this area of Cleveland, which is the Cadell Edgewater area, right? So it goes all the way to Lake Erie, where they have the Cleveland sign. So it's like the third one. We're doing a little bit bigger, trying to involve a little bit more culture and more of the vendors and the partners and stuff. And I think I sent you an email.
Yeah,
Uh,
you did.
the first meeting was on our back deck, and it was amazing. It was fantastic. The amount of ideas. We already have, funding guarantee, got the date to get the right permit. We're going to try to model a little bit from what you might have caught a glimpse of when you were in Brazil,
Yeah.
where you will have streets that are closed like every week for one day or whatever, for the market fair. So you have like fresh produce and stuff.
Yeah,
The fetas where you would eat the pastéis and stuff.
yeah,
So um, it was to do the goal would be to do something similar to that, right? So you have the feta, it's what the neighborhood is doing in a street that you get to close. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
you can do that, and then it just kind of, and of course, it's near the elections. People get to register to vote. There are tons of a couple things that people forget is that there are tons of business owners, small business owners, obviously in your neighborhood, but they will think about this. I think you do that too, because you do Indeed and shit like that, right? You use those things.
Yeah,
You will put a middleman between us and the person that we're gonna hire, right? Even though we want nothing more than to hire the person living in the corner. Just saying. Like we will put a middleman doing that, right? So that's the my thing with doing this is like, yo, no, you have a business right here. You should have a fucking stand here. You have a thing right here. You should have a damn thing here. If you're growing, the people that live here should be working for you. Like, what are you trying? You know what I mean? Like,
become a household name.
why not, right? Because we have Cleveland Lumber. We have like tons of very very good business that not only do business like when we are people that come to do work in our home in any of our houses, if they don't go to Home Depot on West Boulevard over there, they're gonna go to Cleveland Lumber right here. Like
Yeah,
there's like 4 or 5 stores, so you're already eating here, so bring it back, and because your workforce, it's kind of here, and it behooves you to pay attention. Not just like, oh, let me have Huntington Bank here. Let me have Key Bank here. Let me have, what? Yeah, they're okay, but how about you? What does it take? Like asking your wife to, I don't know, make some tacos? You know what I mean? Like that's all it takes, right? And a flag
yeah,
and a shirt and this, and then what do you have? You have a strong community that actually respects each other because you get to respect people by what they actually do and bring to the table. So that's
yeah. I
important.
give you a lot of credit for doing what you're doing. That's a big ask. It's hard to get people to bring them together, and then come together. Let's say on their free time, and all it can do is benefit the community.
We just need to package it differently, right? So if you are somebody like me, who I'm a husband, right, and I'm gonna call myself I'm gonna coin to myself. I never heard anyone saying that, but I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna call myself a COVID husband. I became a husband during COVID, right? Within that thing. So I came from an idea that marriage was I go to work, the wife goes to work, or but and we see each other at night, and that's it. Like we only have a small window to fight,
Converse.
bicker, and stuff. So obviously, we'll try to make the best out of that. But COVID happened, and what happened? We are, for one reason or another, in front of each other the whole darn time. It's not. There is no, real balance. We're from home. Everybody wants remote. So get out the house, bro. Like just it's like it's an opportunity for you to meet other people and really be able to tell your partner, I have something outside the house that you cannot remote control me to do, and you cannot dog and tell your friends, oh, he only be doing that stuff because you'd be saying, oh, he only be helping the community. So she's not gonna do that, right? So
Yeah.
that is one selling point for one. That was one thing I used for one of my neighbors, by the way. Like, you ain't got stuff to lose, dude. We're just gonna sit on the backyard and try to, like, you know what I'm saying?
Drink
Plan
beer.
things. Yes, that's
Yeah.
that too. So I mean, I think it's gonna be super interesting. We got the firehouse too, kind of, that is like right in the corner. So we don't care. Come raise money. I
Oh
don't
man, you
care.
can, yeah, like get water balloons for the kids and
The whole
throw them
thing.
at by the firehouse. That'd be a lot of fun. Great pics to be taken.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's gonna be fun. August 15th is the date. And then we'll have I think all the events set up by July 4th. We'll know if we will be able, like the things that I'm asking that people haven't done here is like truly just close the street for a special event. So we might have to switch how we do it. It's like, oh, we're gonna do a special event by whatever the church, and then everything else is gonna be called block party. Because apparently a block party you only need a few signatures on that street, and then the city has to abide by it.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of interesting because apparently that's a hack. I forgot to mention that because it didn't really click, and I'm like, oh, we can do. Anyways, so I think it's gonna be super cool. We also did a mural last week.
Oh, you did? Where is that?
Yes, on 105th.
You got a picture of it? Put it up.
I do not. I don't think I have a picture on the computer, but I'll put it up.
Absolutely useless.
Oh, I don't disagree. But but I was in that one. I'm really unapologetic about being like having a second interest on where I put in my time, right, to do things. But I wanted to do a mural on the one in Vila Olímpia in São Paulo, right? When you walk into the sort of shared area, I wanted a true mural painted. So I wanted to meet somebody that knows that process of doing something unique, right, and well done, etc. So the artist that organized Lizzie is her name, that organized the thing and commissioned. She actually explained what the whole process entail, right? Of doing it that way and the hourly rate of doing that. And she did the murals to that Can's Chicken place, Can's Chicken. There's a place in Ohio that they did whatever. So she did that. So from a business standpoint, now I know the value by the square footage of what I should pay for an artist that does for businesses. So when you see these things behind me here, right, for the Brazilian hotel, now I know, okay, if I wanted to commission this or how much this is, because she can design and somebody there just paints because it becomes just a puzzle to do
Yeah,
a whole event, right? So, and I know hourly rate less than a consultant. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So those are the things that we talked about last time. Losing momentum. What do? Right? What are the things that you can do that are going to be the catalyst for you to get to the next level? Even though some of the main things are kind of really just grinding and grinding and grinding, right? No, you do not stay home and mope. You don't. You have to look at the next obvious step and plant those seeds. You're going to find it.
Grit.
That's
You need
right.
grit to go through the grind. And I don't know. I, I've never lost momentum. It's not in my makeup. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, it's not in their makeup to, I just
You
don't
have never flatlined, Wes.
know.
Your business has never gotten to a point and that just stayed there for a while. And you're like, and all of a sudden, you're like, guys, we haven't done anything. And you got everybody in your room. You're like, what the heck are we doing here? No, you never did.
No, I know that, there's times when the business wasn't, making the money it should or whatever like that. It didn't stop me from keeping my nose to the grind, a lot for example, people say, man, hey, man, how's business going? How's things going? Yeah. And you guys busy? How's it going? And all I can say is we are improving. I know we're going in the right direction. And that's where my drive is keep going in the right direction. Yeah, there's going to be glitches along the way, but we're going in the right direction. And with processes and things like that. So me personally, I don't lose momentum. Yes, the business may lose a little momentum, but I know that I have a plan in place and a strategy. Kind of like this example. I'm going to use the example. I hate to talk politics, but for example, like prices right now on gas are really high. We have been told that prices with gas will come down once this Middle Eastern situation's been resolved. So how are things going in America right now? Well, they're going in the right direction. Doesn't mean that, yes, gas prices are high, but they're going in the right direction because we're looking to resolve the gas crisis with resolving the Middle Eastern problem. So the price will come down in time. So it's kind of like not everything is wonderful. We are going in the right direction. But I didn't lose momentum. Maybe the dollar bottom line maybe is not growing as fast, but because processes are being implemented and things are being put in place and we're going the right, getting the right people in the right positions. So that's my opinion on it. Now, you've lost momentum and said you want to give up and throw in the towel, and what are you going to do? Get a job like at a bottle factory or something?
So you finally got to the $1 million question that I put on the screen once and asked, but I think you answered something else, and you finally answered what you think losing momentum means. Based on this last like 5 seconds, is that you threw what is it? You threw in the towel, right?
No, I asked if you did.
No, but that's my
I
question.
never threw in the towel.
No,
I've
no.
never.
My question is, do you think that throwing in the towel is the sign of losing momentum?
Um, I think it's a momentum already lost.
And I agree with you. So that is not losing momentum. Losing momentum to me, and that was the definition that I was working off of, right? Is when you were going somewhere, you started something, and all of a sudden it's a silence. You see everybody's happy or they're just doing it, but you're not at the speed of growth or the speed that you wanted. It's losing momentum. Losing momentum, it's Cavaliers up 15. Not the 22. 22, they were going fast. But by the time they were only up 15 on that fourth quarter, right? And the coach didn't call timeout. No one in that bench had the peace of mind to understand they had just lost the momentum. They weren't losing the game yet. They could have paused everything and sung a kumbaya, sat down James Harden. They had all the power in their hands. But did they have the ability to identify that? And that's why I wanted to reset and went back to sports because it just happened, right? That's what I'm interpreting. That's what I interpreted as losing momentum. You're still winning, baby. Like if nobody's saying you lost the game or like you said, no, my business sometimes loses momentum. My people were there, and all of a sudden, we got a reason or another to be apathic, right? A reason or another to be just, it is what it is. So, what are the signs in your team when you're losing momentum, and what do you do about? That was that top question of last week.
So your definition of momentum and my definition of momentum were different.
Correct.
Your momentum was the bottom line, actually. Cavaliers 15 on the bottom line. You know what I mean? Or 22. Whatever. What I'm trying to say, you're talking about the growth of the business, for example, slowing down. Where I don't look at it as I don't know, you could define it as that. You could use that as a definition. But I look at it as when I'm looking at the bottom line and maybe the growth isn't where it's at, now that's time for me to get motivated to make adjustments and start making stuff happen. Me personally, and I'm thinking more of it as a people problem of momentum and not the business problem momentum, because there's obstacles that do come in to a business.
What is business if not people? Unless you have a freaking, I don't know, AI business that just create it needs still it's people. You need the energy, you need the suppliers. So what is business for not people? But the frame of my question, because I know it's a Thursday and this is summer and we gotta make money. The frame of my question was the momentum as since I was the one who asked the question, framed it as, right? You're still winning, you're still ahead. You're not necessarily taking in water. Sometimes you're still like, think about it. Sometimes you are GE back in the 60s or 70s. You know, you were top of the world. You were the boss of everything that was to be. And then you got Jack Welch, and you start changing things, and you continue to be what it was to be. But when you looked just a little under the surface, you saw nothing changing, right? You didn't see those small wins being collected on, hey, we innovated with the best refrigerator. We innovated with the best thing. We innovated with the best on safety. We innovated with the best airplane. Oh, now just with the best, now with all the best varieties. Like we did that, right? So these would be indicators that you lost momentum. Why? Because you're normal before, right? You were winning on all these categories. Now, yes, your bottom line looks great. You looked fancy. You looked like the best. The guy was selling books, right? But now that he's dead and everything, the company is dead. Why? Because he was so great? No, he effectively killed the company. But a company that is always winning, right? It takes decades to kill it. Think about it. So the momentum indicator is different to me. To me, this is like it's not. I didn't read on any TQM books or whatever the heck. Damn it, didn't read on any of these books. But the momentum to me, the indicators to say that you lost momentum, they go beyond just your bottom line because you could be in the black for years, but you're losing that gap between Tesla and BYD. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but the indicator in that situation is a person who lost momentum to push the people to keep that momentum up, or
Well, as if you think of yes, in a private owned company for sure, I would say so, right? In a private owned company that he always comes down to one person, essentially
a
maybe.
CEO
I understand that. But a corporation, a CEO is a puppet. As much as he makes tons of money, right? The CEO, in my opinion, um, few exceptions, Jeff Bezos, the ones that actually have the majority on their businesses, but like the ones that don't anymore, right? They are still at the mercy of the board, of the people that truly hold the majority of the action. So when all those folks make a bad decision, because it's a bad decision for the business, like don't think that the folks that GE went down and everybody was happy that he went down, right? The folks that put the guy before and made all the decisions since, they kind of are the same. It's not like they're out there proud. If they could have made a different decision and nudged that CEO to make a different choice, that's what I mean. It's like it is the people, it is a momentum that it it's more social than not. I think the momentum of the company. That's why I went to the sport analogy. Right? It wasn't just James Harden that lost the momentum. It wasn't just the coach that lost it. It wasn't just that player, that one player. It was everyone in just one person who didn't raise the flag to say, guys, wake up. Something is wrong here. Right?
time.
We gotta pause. So that's what I'm saying. What is the indicators? Not just one person, right? So that's my proposal. I'm not denying that it is horrible to throw in the towel. That you, as the owner, should never lose momentum or feel as if you did. But we have to be humble enough to accept just because we care about what we have, just because we give sweat and tears and probably up to our last dollar in that one goal doesn't mean that we're not blindsided for that passion and we are blinded to the fact that we lost momentum, but we're justifying on some other shit. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Anyways, this was a passionate episode, and I think that's one of the reasons why Wes and I would sit here, even when we're tired or we're busy or we're traveling or whatever, to have those. At least I do, because I do get to be passionate and say some stuff that is kind of very like off the left field or left field. You know what I mean? But I get to say it, and you get to say bullshit. I call bullshit, and then next episode we'll talk again, and and that's how we move. It was a pleasure having this episode with you today, Wes. I'm still too Brazilian with my hands, but we'll continue working on it.
All right, sounds good. Keep it on the mute button.
Keep it on the mute button.
Yeah,
I do,
so-
and then you're like, "Oh, dude, you're on the mute."
Yeah. You're on mute again. Take care.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.